Right. Great. Okay, good. I'll leave you to it then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, when do you want me to start? I can start.
Hi Andrea, hi John,
Hi.
You.
Ravalnath here.
Hi, Jignesh.
It's
How
Ravalnath.
you doing?
Yeah,
Oh, hi. Hi. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. So, Andrea, you can start anytime you want.
Okay. Thank
Great.
you. Okay. I understood from John that you already have at least some basic knowledge about Angular,
right.
and that's why I think it will be better for this first session to present you on some patterns from an existing application that uses Angular,
Okay,
and this will be the payroll application that I worked on.
okay.
And if you have any questions during this session, please don't hesitate to interrupt me in
Yeah,
any moment.
yeah, sure.
Okay, and I will start with the Angular file structure of payroll application.
Okay,
The Angular files are all in this folder, the modules folder.
right.
And as you probably know
Hello.
already, a module is a container for the different parts of the application.
Yes,
And a module will contain controllers, directives, filters,
right,
services, and templates.
right, right.
Okay, and this structure should be preserved in all application. We have the same structure in all application, and this should be preserved.
Okay,
In this JavaScript file, payroll module, this file will contain the payroll application module definition,
okay,
and will be a set of a collection of configuration blocks and run blocks. As you can see in here we declare some constants that can be then used in controllers, in directives.
right.
Also in this file we declare the roots,
Mm,
and as you can see, the roots allow us to map the URLs and to use templates so that every time the current root changes, the included view changes with it. Also, for each root we declare we set a Angular controller.
right, right. So, just
And
wanted to know, like, uh, we have, like, in this application, we are using UI routing, right?
yes,
Okay, fine.
also in this file we have some run blocks, and the run blocks is the code which needs to run to kickstart the application. If, for example, you'll need some property that should be set when the application starts, you will declare that property in here, or you will get it in here from the service.
Okay,
Um, the controllers folder, for this example, as you can see, we have 4 controllers for different parts of the application, and are just simple JavaScript functions which provides data and logic to the UI.
right.
In here you can declare some properties or functions that can be used in UI. So the controller controls how data flows from the server to the UI.
Okay. So are these common function that would be used among across different
Can you
modules?
please repeat?
Are these common functions which would be used across different modules?
No, this is just for the
Payroll.
period page.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is, for example, I have a response from the server and I want to manipulate that response so I can display the information in
Right.
the request manner. And
Right.
that's why maybe I will have functions or properties.
Right.
The directives folder for us contains multiple custom directives,
Okay.
and with them you can create custom or reusable components for the application.
Right.
I will show you then a directive that you use to make a part of the application
Okay.
after I will open the application. The filter folders probably now, as you know, contain some custom filter that format the value of an expression to display to the user.
Right.
They are not mandatory. If you will need them, you can create them, or maybe not. You will not need them.
Right.
Okay, and the service folder. The service folder contains reusable objects independent of views. Generally, we create a service to facilitate the communication with the server.
Okay. Right.
As you can see in here, we are using the HTTP service
Okay.
that is based on the deferred promise
Right. Right.
pattern
Right.
provided by the queue service. And because the calls are asynchronously and will use their return values when they are done processing.
Right.
And as you can see in here, we are calling the period controller, the C# period controller, and the C# controllers are in here. And the period controller is in here. And for each C# controller, you should have a service, a period service
Okay.
in this case. And for each method from the C# controller, will have a function in the Angular service.
Okay.
As you can see in here, get payroll period list, and in the C# controller, we have also this method. The templates folder. In templates folder, of course, we have the HTML files.
Right.
They are organized in layout, partials, and any other folder specific for each application.
Okay.
These are common for all applications, layout and partials, but this folder, and you can create other folders specific for each application.
Right.
The layout folder will contains the files for the main layout, and the partials folder will contain reusable HTML files.
Right.
And for us, the period folder will contain the HTML files for the period page. I will open now the application so you can see how it will look,
Okay.
how it looks like.
Right.
Okay, this is the page, the period page. As you can see, the URL And if we will take a look in the payroll module, we will see that URL in here, company, entity, period. It's the same. Company, we have the company set, the entity, and this page, as you can see in here, uses the period controller, this controller. And as template, we have the period list template, that's templates period index. This is the page, the HTML file. As an example, as you can see in here, for this menu header, I created an Angular directive. This is the directive, the customer entity title directive. And it is used in here, like this. To get the data from the server so I can populate this information, we call the service, the selection manager service, and this, as I said before, the service calls the C# controller. We have a selection controller in here, a corresponding controller. And because we use the defer promise pattern, we'll have two cases. When the call returns, we'll wait for the response, and when the call returns with success, and when the call returns with error, and we treat these cases separately. Also, some functions are declared in scope, and some properties are also declared in scope, because we are using that properties and the functions in HTML. If we'll not use the properties or the function in HTML, it's just for this directive, we should declare it with the var keyword, like this. And it will be used just in this directive, for example. To display this part, for example, we use just the controller, the period controller, to get the information, like in all other the controllers and directive. We call a service, and as you can see in here, we call a service and get the response from the service and manipulate that response so we can show the needed information to the screen. Also, we have some properties declared, as you can see in here, the model, and also some functions like this one, because we are using this in the HTML. Some are with var because they are just used in this file. Also, we are using the on keyword when you want to listen to an event of a given type, but maybe I think you know about this, right?
Yes, I know about it.
Okay. For other part of this application is this table, and this table is also a directive, the workbook grid directives, and this directive is using the UI grid tool feature, and the data comes from the period controllers. As you can see in here, this is the data to display in the grid. And if we'll take a look in here to the workbook grid, you can see that the data comes from the period controller. As if you go in here, you will see that the body rows are setting here, and they are passed out to the workbook directive. I think I forgot to mention that in the C# controller we should have just the call to the service. The request and the response should not be manipulated in here. We'll do that in the Angular controller.
Right.
There are some rare situations like when we upload or download a document where you can write some code in here, but that are just, there are some two situations. In rest we are just make a call to the service and we manipulate the response in Angular. Also, for some future we are using the bootstrap directives like the modal to display a pop-up like this one. If you want to display maybe an warning or an alert warning or success message like an alert, we are using the toaster service.
Right, toaster.
Okay. If maybe if you want to show you something else from that page, or maybe if you want to ask me something, I think in here it's just JavaScript. It's not something.
Yes.
We are using broadcast as force to dispatch an event.
Okay.
From the controller maybe to some directives or to other controller.
What about the service? Like, who will be writing all those services?
Sorry, I hear you very slow and I didn't understand your question.
Okay. Actually, what about the service? Like, if we want any functionality, so the service part we have to write it our own self, or there are some other people who will write the service for us?
The I, I don't understand what to.
Scream it. Are you too far away from the microphone?
No, actually.
Okay, you got to speak up because I can barely hear you either. One thing I would like to point out is if you notice the code that she's been showing you, it's beautiful in nature. It's organized, it's aligned, it's always consistent. Andrea, were you this good before you started working for me?
No, of course.
No, but really, I mean, everything that she has shown you has been perfectly aligned. The variables haven't been cryptic. You don't see any variables like A, B, C, or, everything is very clean, and that is a cornerstone of how we code. So just keep that in mind. And I think all of a sudden we just barely can hear you. So I don't know if that's a function of where you're sitting with regard to the microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you him right now very
Yeah.
well.
The question that he was asking was like whether the services which are being consumed from this UI will be returned by the UI developer only, or it will be returned by someone else. That was the question he was trying to ask.
Sure. So generally speaking, somebody will create. Well, you know what? That's a good question, and the answer is it normally depends on the front end person's capabilities. Andrea has the capability to go from the very front to the very back. So sometimes I will depend on her to do more than just front end. But Andrea, typically, are you creating the API application?
No, just the
No.
UI.
Okay. So So there's your answer, is that somebody else will be creating the API applications. However,
Okay.
it depends on
And
capacity and capability, Hemant.
Right. Right.
And who's free, right? Skills plus who is free equals who does that work.
Right. Right. Got the answer.
Great.
Yeah.
Back over to you, Andrea.
okay, I think I said all I wanted to say for today. Maybe if they have some questions or if they want to show them something else or they have questions, I'm available.
Also, you have been lying to me all this time. You have told me that you're not very good at presentations, and that was
I'm not.
amazingly good, especially for somebody whose second language is English. So, great job. I
Thank you.
imagine do you have questions at this moment, or do you need time to digest the information? Do you want her to go into a particular area and drill down more? So why don't you
No.
just tell us where you'd like to go, if any
Uh,
place?
right now, I would like to have like the access to the code so I can myself go through it. And if else I come into scenarios where I don't understand, then that would be the situation where I would require someone to guide me through that code actually.
I understand. So have you created a GitHub account? Do you have a GitHub account?
Yes.
So if you can either, let's see, can you put that into the window?
I don't remember actually. I have to check.
Okay, so what you do is when you can, when you get a chance, email it to me or Hemant or whoever email address you have at the moment, and I will make the code available to you through GitHub. Everything we have is on GitHub.
Okay.
And specifically, this particular application is in a branch called payroll.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure you'll have 1,000 questions once you get going.
Right. Right. Definitely.
Great. Anything else at the moment?
Not from my side.
Great.
She showed actually.
Andrea,
Yes,
you're awesome. Nice job.
thank you.
So much,
Okay.
Andrea.
Hemant, are you still there?
Yes, can you hear me?
What time? Yeah, when is our other training session? What time?
I kept it at 6:45, considering that like we might have some delay in this session, so I wanted to have at least a gap of 15 minutes. So it was planned for
So
6:45.
so that would be what 8:45 my time. So it's in about 39 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, just a second. Like quickly tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
39
yeah. It's
39 minutes. Okay.
9:15 your time.
Oh, 9:15. So that's
Yeah,
an hour and that's
yeah,
more than an hour. Okay, that sounds good.
yeah.
Great. Okay.
Okay then.
Thank you guys.
Okay then. Thank you
Oh,
so much, Andrea. It was a really nice session.
Thank you,
No
Andrea.
problem, you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.